Hello, today I want to walk you through the X1250 mobile fall protection trailer. We're going to talk about the setup, the use, and a few considerations before using the system. So first things first, we need to do our pre-use inspection. The pre-use inspection is going to be a once-over of the entire piece of equipment. We're going to look at welds, we're going to look at bolts, the anchorage. We're also going to look inside the box at the hydraulic fluid and the water and the battery. These are steps that are pretty easily done, taken care of, very quick to do. Also, they're laid out in your instruction manual on page 20 and 21. Once again, just a very good once over of the piece of equipment. So now that we have it where we want the system, and there are multiple ways to move the unit. So, first way, 2 5/16 ball hitch. These trailers are road towable at highway speeds. The next way to move the system would be the 2 fork pockets. There's one in the weight box, one freestanding. And then the last way to move it would be your crane pick points here on every rigger in case you ever needed to fly the system. So multiple ways to move it. There is an add-on as well. It would bolt to these brackets here behind the tires. It's called our Mobile Go option. And with that option, you're able to move the entire trailer 360 degrees. It's fantastic for final positioning. So once I have the system where I need it, the next step is to put my 4 jacks down. With these jacks, they're very quick to set up. They're drop foot style jacks. So basically I'll unpin it, drop the foot down, pin it to the nearest hole, and then simply crank down. What I'm looking to do is make sure that the machine itself is stabilized by those 4 jacks and not by the axle and tire. So basically, the 4 jacks are going to stabilize the system. You do not have to lift these wheels off the ground. We just want to make sure it's stabilized by the 4 jacks. The next very important thing is that the system is within 2 degrees of level before we attach any workers. So you have a bubble level here on the side. It's going to give you your front to back. You also have a bubble level underneath this lowest hydraulic cylinder right here. It's tucked back in there, that way it's safe and protected. Next step would be to disconnect our tie down straps. So we have a tow strap here on the back, and we also have one here on the front. Those are simply for towing purposes going down the road, so make sure those are disconnected. If you forget to disconnect those, you're going to hear the hydraulic motor grunt, and so if you hear that sounds like it's working real hard, be sure to stop immediately and check and see what happened. If something happens and one of these straps does get busted, we do have replacements on hand. So once I have the system within 2 degrees of level, the next thing I want to do is plug in my remote. So this is the remote that will be with your system. It is a 15-foot corded pendant remote. 1 button, 1 function. You have up, down, and out, in. That's all there is to it. So I'm going to take this and I'm going to plug it right here on the back of the battery box. There's a receiver box, and we'll get this plugged in. There is a little slot here to make sure we have it lined up correctly. I'll plug it in and I'll tighten that down. Once I have my remote plugged in, I'm going to walk to the rear of the unit here where our on-off switch is, and I'm going to turn the system on. Now that the system is on, I'm going to use the up button. And this is one thing some folks get a little confused about with this remote. Oftentimes they want to hold it and think the top is here. But the actual top of the remote is where the cord comes out of the housing. That's your top. So I'm going to go ahead and raise this up to eye level. Now that I have the system at eye level, I'm going to go ahead and check every one of my anchor points. I want to make sure that they spin and they swivel freely. There's no cracking and no corrosion. Next thing I want to do is attach my fall protection. Now this is the exact unit that was purchased with your X Series mobile grabber, your X1250s. This is our C9001 or our hybrid hog. With this unit here, it's going to safely allow you to work underneath freely, but it will stop you at a max distance of 24 inches. One thing I do suggest is that before you use the system every time, do something that's called shock testing. So we'll go ahead and give you an example of a shock test. As you can see, I very quickly moved it. You need to think of this self-retracting device as like a seat belt. So the moment it starts to feel a very quick movement, it's going to start its engagement. So it's good to check this every single time so that you know for sure that this piece of equipment is working as it should. So now that I have my fall protection attached, the next thing I want to do is attach my tag line. The tag line is in the box with the self-retracting device as well as the carabiner. So I'll go ahead and attach this to the snap hook of the self-retracting device. Now the snap hook is the portion of the self-retracting device that is going to connect to your harness. This is what's going to attach you to the system. So before you go to use this self-retracting device, it is important that you check every time. This right here is a little indicator, and if you see nothing, it's good to use. If you ever see a red line underneath this, that means it needs to be taken out of service. It's been used in some sort of shock event, and it's no good to use. You can send it back to us. We can see if it could be repaired and shipped back. But if you ever see a red line, be sure to not use that system and take it out of service immediately. So now that I've raised the system up to eye level, checked my anchor points, I've attached my fall protection, I've attached my tag line, I'm going to go ahead and raise the system up to the necessary working height. Now these systems are unique in the fact that they do not have to be all the way in the air to be utilized. I can use the system anywhere from 2 feet off the ground up to the max height of 34 feet. So this system, the X1250, is good for 3 users, up to a max height of 34 feet, and anywhere in between. Each anchor point is rated for 310 pounds. So 1 310 pound user, 2 310 pound user, and 3 310 pound users. These users can all be attached at once, and they can be used in any configuration. So what you'll see is this machine is going up as you have a 5-foot extension here. That extension could be all the way out, all the way in, halfway out, however it's best utilized. Another thing to keep in mind is that the anchor points are always above the worker's head at all times. Never at shoulder height or below. Always above the worker's head at all times. One thing, and I'll show you this whenever I get it up in the air for a little bit better view, is that you also get a 30-degree working diameter cone off of the anchor point. So this 30-degree cone is going to be subject to your working height, so how tall your working surface is and how high you have those anchor points. Just for reference, if I take this system all the way up to the max height of 34 feet, I have a worker attached here at 34-foot height, and they're working on a 15-foot tall platform. I'm going to have a 22-foot working diameter, or an 11-foot radius, 11 feet in this direction, 11 feet in this direction, forward, backwards as well. So something to keep in mind, this is a system that's being utilized because it can cover a very large area and multiple users. So now that I have the system set up, I'm within 2 degrees of level, I've checked my anchor points, I've attached my fall protection and my tag line, I'm going to go ahead and raise this up to the necessary working height. Now I'm going to get my most reach with this system, which is near 10 feet, whenever I have this last section of the boom parallel with the ground. That's going to be around a 24-foot anchor height. I'll get almost 10 foot of reach. As I raise this all the way up to 34 feet, from the rear of the unit to the furthest anchor point, I'm going to still have 7 feet. So you still get considerable reach with that height. Keep in mind that it is important. Get your anchor points as high as you can get them. That way you can cover the largest area possible. So I'll go ahead and raise the system up and give you an idea of what that 34 feet looks like. Again, one button, one function, up, down, out, in. Now that I have the system all the way in the air, the last step I need to complete is simply pulling the snap hook down with utilizing the tag line, and I'm going to connect it to my harness. So very simple, very quick process here. Basically disconnect my tag line, attach my self-retracting device to the D-ring on my harness, which the D-ring is the ring on your back. And next thing, you're ready to go to work. So at this point, I'm ready to climb up on top of the surface and do the work necessary. This is a fairly quick setup process. It's going to take less than 5 minutes to get set up, and very quick to tear down as well. So we keep the system as easy to use as possible. It's important that whenever you come down and you're ready to disconnect, you remove the self-retracting device from your harness and reattach your tag line. And again, let this go up slowly. This is important for the life of the self-retracting device. If I just let this go up quickly, it's going to wreak some havoc inside that housing of that self-retracting device. So it is important to use your tag line before you do the work and as soon as you're done and you climb down to disconnect. Very simple, very quick process. I appreciate you joining me. If you ever have any questions, my name is Brian Heiss. I am the Equipment Sales Division Manager, and my direct line is 740-525-0132. Thanks.